Liss, and the program is called The Way to Go. This program is dedicating to providing you with information to make your life more interesting, busier, and to fill you in on the behind-the-scenes look at things that are happening. A little later on in the show, we're going to be doing a segment called Reviews and Previews, and I'll be giving you some information about things that you can do in the days, weeks, and months ahead. So get a pen and pencil or paper handy, and be ready to jot down some phone numbers and some dates that you can use. Today's program and today's guest is devoted to a wonderful treasure in Westchester called the Emelin Theater. And I'm delighted to have as my guest today the executive director of the Emelin Theater, David Watson. And David, I guess we ought to start by, if you can do it, summing up in a few words what is unique about this gem called the Emelin.
I think what is unique about the Emelin is its intimacy, in a sense. The theater is a small theater. It has only 280 seats. No one in the theater is ever more than 54 feet from the artist performing on stage. So it's really as though you had your own private theater in your own home, as though you had a ballroom in your house and you could have world-class artists there.
It's interesting, David, because I went to a recent performance, and the only seats that were available by the time I made up my mind were, quote, in the mezzanine. Now, the mezzanine is like the 10th row?
Something like that. It's row J or so. And if you think in terms of a Broadway theater or Carnegie Hall, if you went to Avery Fisher Hall and sat in the 10th row, you would feel that you were spectacularly close to the artist. And from even the last row in our theater, you can see the beads of sweat on the forehead of an artist who's working hard.
Now, it's interesting that the uniqueness is the theater, as you put it, and the size and the intimacy. But there's another uniqueness that I find, and that is the variety, that diversity of what you present there. What's the gamut? What is the range?
Well, the range, you're right, is extreme. It's I suppose you could say the Emelin is distinguished by its ambition in some ways to far exceed what anyone would expect of a theater of its size. I've described it at times as Madison Square Garden without the ice. We will often have 3 or 4 or 5 different kinds of shows, not just different attractions, but different kinds of shows in one weekend. So it runs from a lot of children's theater, family programming, films, dance, music, from classical music to bluegrass.
To jazz. To cabaret, which you were at recently, and adult theater, both musicals and straight plays, comedies. We have a distinguished speakers series where we have people ranging from Sergei Khrushchev to, I don't know what the other end of the scale from Khrushchev's son is, to distinguished journalists and writers. How do you do it? How many programs do you do in the course of a year?
We do over 200 performances a year.
And how do you do it? What's the mechanics of it? What's the detail? What is taking place in your mind, I suppose, now for next year, and how did it all happen? What puts it together?
Well, it's a good moment to talk about that because we are in the process now of booking our 95-96 season. So my calendar at the moment on my wall actually runs up through January 3rd of 1997. Because some of the artists of the scale that we are talking about book years ahead.
Really?
And so to get the people we want, we often have to make a commitment now for a Saturday night in 1996.
But how do you pick them?
That's an interesting challenge, which is new to me because I've only been there since May, and this is the first time I've had a full season to book. And part of it is a matter of sharing with the audience the experience of the people who are there, seeing how they react, and getting a sense of other things that would be of interest to them.
You mentioned the fact that you've only been there since May. Now, I've noted when I've been there that you're right there in the lobby. As a matter of fact, one night I saw you even taking tickets. I mean, that's really getting down to meeting with the people. And I was really impressed by the fact that so many people knew you as they came in, and you just can't be aloof and know what people want, can you?
No, exactly. And I try to be there almost every performance, before the show and at intermission, and I get feedback that way. And I get compliments and I get brickbats. I don't count it a very good night at the Emelin if two people haven't said to me, "This is the best thing I've ever seen here," and "This is the worst thing I've ever seen here."
Is it difficult to get the performers that you want?
It's surprising that it is not actually difficult. The Emelin has a wonderful reputation in the arts community. I often say to my staff that we have three constituencies here. One is our audience. One is, of course, our board of directors, who are responsible for the overall policies of the theater. But the third one is the arts community. And if artists come to the Emelin, like the atmosphere, like to perform there, like the quality of the audience that we bring to them, they come back and they tell people.
Now, you mentioned that I had recently seen Maureen McGovern. Now, I'm a great fan of cabaret, as people who watch this program know. To have the opportunity to see Maureen McGovern a week before she opened at Rainbow and Stars doing the same show is unique. Why would Maureen McGovern choose the Emelin? I think the answer is she knows it. I mean, you've said it in this conversation.
She's been there before. She had actually tried out her previous show for Rainbow and Stars in May of last year. One of my first evenings at the Emelin in charge was with Maureen, and it was a fabulous way to open my time there. And she came back. She came to us, in fact. There are many artists, obviously, where we go out and say, we'd like to book you, we'd like you to come in and do a show for us. Maureen is a different case. She loves to come to the Emelin and work there. It resembles in feel from the stage Rainbow and Stars. And she has a very responsive audience. She can try out new material. And this is the kind of audience that we bring in that she wants to have in New York, and she can see what works.
You mentioned the intimacy of the theater. I have to give a little anecdote here that as I was making my way to my seat, I could hear her vocalizing.
Dressing rooms are under the mezzanine. That's an advantage.
And the fact is that the theater is so intimate that you really feel close. And of course, she came out and knocked them dead.
And another part of this, and go back to that idea that this is almost like having your own theater, is that all our artists tend to come out afterwards and meet the public in the lobby, and it's not it's much more of a community feeling than perhaps seeing them in New York with the expense, the parking, the everything.
Yeah, that's a subject that I want to get into a little later, is the convenience and so on. But you talk about the fact that you're only there since May, so maybe there's a good point to talk about your background a little bit. Where do you come from?
Sure.
What's it all about?
Actually grew up in Rye, so I'm local in that sense.
But you have a long theater background, don't you?
I've been working in the theater since about 1976, 77. Primarily in, as I say, in theater rather than in presenting this kind of theater. At about the time the Emelin was founded, which was in 1973, it was a gift really to the people of Westchester from Arthur Emelin, who had worked in Mamaroneck. He was a pharmacist and had a successful career there, and felt that Westchester needed a theater like the Emelin. And he gave the money to have it built, which is a wonderful and enduring kind of gift that we see rarely, I guess.
And the theater, as I recall, had some improvements done a few years ago, and in terms of the lobby area. And
the lobby area is closed in. It was originally a separate building next to the library, and we have since closed that in, which gives us a community room where we can have people meet the artists and a better lobby waiting area. At about that time, I suppose I was sort of getting my feet wet in the world of theater, and I suppose we've had parallel tracks. My background is really as a producer and director of theater, so that's one thing that I care a lot about at the Emelin. And in recent years, we've had a little less theater than we used to have because it's expensive.
Yes,
and the Emelin was designed as a presenting theater, I would say, rather than a producing theater.
Okay.
We don't have a lot of backstage facilities for building, for storing costumes, and so forth. So it's a challenge for us to do a play of our own, but it's one that we're determined to continue to try to meet.
I want to get into some of the programming and specifics of what you're doing a little later on, but at this point I do want to mention the parking facilities, the convenience. Of course, Mamaroneck is ideally located from the north and from the south and from the west, and don't go too far east because you'll be in Long Island Sound. But there's a lot of parking facilities that are available because the parking garage, the roof of the parking garage across the street becomes free in the evenings.
As of 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock at
the
night.
top level of that garage is Emelin patrons.
And there are streets alongside, and there's even some parking space right under the theater that people... And of course, that's an important thing because a lot of people are concerned with any theater. How do I get there? And do I have to spend a lot of money for parking? And of course, a lot of restaurants in the area. We have to talk about that.
Indeed, yes. No, it's true. You can park all around the area, and you can park in front of your favorite restaurant in Mamaroneck and walk to the theater from there. Certainly in the summertime, that's a great option. You mentioned the water being right there. I'd be tempted in the summer to come down and have a picnic in the park.
Right. So let's get a little bit into the programming and what you got ahead. One of the things that you do have is a newsletter that you put out that people can get at the theater, or I guess by calling and getting information on it. So let's talk about that newsletter. How often is it put out, and what does it contain?
Well, it's at least quarterly. Sometimes a little more often than that, sometimes a little less often, depending on how the season goes. This is the current newsletter, which covers February, March, and April of this year. And if people call the theater, ask to be put on our mailing list, we're more than happy to do that, and they will get this regularly, as well as our full season brochure and any special events that we have coming up.
This is a good opportunity for us to give the telephone number that people can call to get on the mailing list, and also the box office number. What is that number?
That number it's a Westchester number, of course, 914. It's 698-0098.
And we'll put that on the closing credits so that people can write it down. And talking about writing down, this would be a good time to take a little break from our interview and to talk about the segment that we're calling Reviews and Previews. And each week at this time, we will be talking about things that you can be doing to enjoy yourself, some finds that we've had, some things that people know about, and also some things that perhaps you can put on your calendar. The first thing I want to talk about is a wonderful, wonderful attraction called the Ladies' Mile. Now, you may not be aware of the Ladies' Mile, but that is the segment of New York City on 6th Avenue and Broadway below 23rd Street, where the department stores really had their beginnings, and many of those buildings are still standing. However, there is an exhibit at the Museum of the City of New York on 5th Avenue and 105th Street that is going on now and will be continuing till October. It's a great museum, and what's nice about it is that you can actually park on the street. There are 2-hour meters in front, and it's very, very convenient. And so I would suggest that you put on your calendar, go to the museum and see this terrific exhibit. If you want further information, the telephone number is 212-534-1672. And now I want to talk about one of my really favorite places in Westchester, which is the Hudson River Museum in Yonkers. Now, the Hudson River Museum has just opened a new exhibit. It's a great exhibit. It's called the American Portrait. And there's also a second exhibit there, which is pictures of women. And put it on your calendar. It's going to be running for quite a while. The telephone number for information is 914-963-4550. I want to tell you about something that is happening on February 25th. It's at the 92nd Street Y, and it's a cabaret program called Boys Night Out. And it will feature three of my favorite cabaret performers, and they are great. I've seen them all, and I'm looking forward to actually seeing this performance. They're Tom Anderson, and Philip Officer, and Jeff Honor, and David Staller. They are some of the, in my opinion, some of the outstanding, really, cabaret performers today. And the number to call to get tickets and information about Boys Night Out and anything that's at the 92nd Street Y is 212-996-1100. This next item is not something that is happening tomorrow. It's happening all the time. Do you know that you can actually go and see the New York Philharmonic at Avery Fisher Hall and not pay a lot of money and have good seats? It only costs $10 to go to the rehearsals, the actual rehearsals for the performances that take place that night and 2 or 3 nights afterwards. They're usually on Thursdays. They start at 9:45. It costs you $10 to go. And I have seen some. You don't see everything played through, and then the conductor will go over certain parts, but it gives you some tremendous view of what makes great music great. Another advantage of that is the fact that parking in the garage at Lincoln Center is very, very inexpensive if you go in the morning. In the evening it costs you $18, $20 to park there. But you can park there during the day for something like $7, and you can stay there all day. So if you go to a rehearsal, it's over 12:30, 1 o'clock. You can go across the street to the American Craft Museum or eat in one of the many restaurants across the way and stay there till 6 o'clock, all for your same $7. And the number to call for information about the Philharmonic is 212-875-5030. And finally, I want to tell you about one of my favorite places in Westchester, and that's the Westchester Broadway Theater. And the new show, which has just opened, is Gigi. It's a recreation of the hit Broadway show and the hit 1958 film, which starred Leslie Caron and Maurice Chevalier, Louis Jourdain. I'm looking forward to seeing that show. I'll tell you more about it after I've seen it. But Gigi, some people have seen it in preview and tell me that it's really a great performance. Two of the people who are starring in it have been Gloria Crampton, who plays Gigi, was one of the co-stars in Phantom at the Westchester Broadway Theater, and Joseph Mawald was the lead when they did Sayonara recently. And the number to call for the Westchester Broadway Theater for information is 914-592-2222. So I hope you've made notes of all of these things. Put them on your calendar, and each week at this time we will be giving you more reviews and more previews. And now back to my guest, who is David Watson, the Executive Director of the Emelin Theater. And David, so let's get specific now about programming. What's happening?
Well, we have a good deal happening. I know since we got into immediate dates, on February the 25th, those who aren't free to get to the 92nd Street Y, and I wish I were because that sounds like a wonderful show, we have some family entertainment at the Emelin that full day. It's a production of Alice in Wonderland with 3 shows on the 25th. And this is a production created by a team from the Missoula Children's Theater out of Montana. They have come to Mamaroneck and auditioned 50 local children to be in this production. And in 1 week during the school vacation, these 50 children will put together Alice in Wonderland. Auditions were on Monday, the 20th of February from 3 to 5 in the afternoon, and rehearsals happen immediately after that, and the show opens just 5 or 6 days later, a fully costumed musical show.
You do a lot of children's programming, and there's a big audience for that, isn't there?
There is, and that's an important function we have in the community. I think you probably, as I did, started going to theater and to music at a very early age, and that's where that habit develops, and the sophistication and the ability to appreciate and enjoy that.
I remember the first show I ever saw, Babes in Arms.
My
on
goodness.
Broadway. That goes back a long way, doesn't it?
Well, I have to tell you, my first Broadway show was Peter Pan, and they threw the fairy dust on us, and some of us never recovered.
Well, I've never recovered.
This was the Mary Martin Peter Pan.
Yeah. I also recall another show that I saw in my very, very young days when an aunt, I think, took me there, and this was Pins and Needles.
Oh, my.
So I go back a long way, don't I?
You do. I'm not going to compete with that, I'm afraid. Also, just in this February week, because you mentioned children's theater, we do, throughout the year, a Saturday morning children's theater series, 2 shows on Saturdays. But during the school vacation weeks and the Monday holidays, we try to have extra things available. So during the February school vacation week, for example, we have Poco Puppets doing the Hello Show, which is the 21st. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, whatever those dates are. And then, of course, as I said, Alice in Wonderland, the 25th. We have classical music on the 26th. And we have something very interesting coming up March 4th, which I hope I can lure you to.
What's that?
This is a Japanese program. As you know, we have a large Japanese community in Westchester, and it's a very interesting cultural heritage that we can explore. And we have 2 things happening. It's a 2-part evening on March 4th. The first part is I guess you'd call it a demonstration of the Heian court robes. These are the elaborate kimonos that were worn at the recent Japanese royal wedding. And we will have a team from Japan who will model these and show you all the different layers, the significance of each of the costumes. And the man's costume that we're going to see in that show has never been out of Japan before. They said, this is not what you would wear
What's the date
to
for
the
that?
court. This is March 4th.
March 4th.
But this is what a gentleman would wear if he was calling on a lady from the court. And that is narrated by Celeste Holm, the first half of the evening. The second half is a world premiere of a dance performance based on the tale of Genji, many people say the world's first novel about the Heian court. And Saeko Ichinohe, who was at the Emelin in '87, is coming back to do this world premiere performance. All in one evening.
You talk about programming for your audience, and you mentioned the Japanese community, and of course, that's the kind of thinking that really relates to what people want to see. What else is coming up?
We have a whole variety of things. We have, for the bluegrass fans, for example, the Osborne Brothers, who are a legendary bluegrass band, coming in April. We're having a barbecue beforehand. We're hoping the weather will be gorgeous by then.
Where do you do that?
We'll do it outside, weather permitting, across the street where we have our crafts fair.
Oh, okay, fine.
And also we have Tanya Maria, Brazilian jazz artist, April 29th. I'm just sort of trying to hit the highlights of the kinds of things we do. Carl Bernstein is coming to speak. Christopher Lehman hoped. So we have a whole variety of those things as well.
Give me another rundown. Of course, it's all in the newsletter, and people will be able to get them by calling the number. But give me a quick rundown, because I want to cover as much as we can in the time that we have.
I'm going to test my memory here.
Not really.
What's ahead. In addition to the Children's Theater, Haye Ni, cello concert coming up. We have, let me see. I'm going to fumble. We got a lot of film as well.
A lot of material, and of course we do need notes to do that. The film series is another thing that I find very interesting. Now, these are great films, and I know people who go see them all the time.
We have one of the things. Let me speak on the downside a minute about Westchester, is that we tend to have sort of first-run commercial film, and not a great deal of opportunity to see some of the fabulous foreign films and even independent American films that get made. And so we have a Friday night film series. Actually, it's Fridays and Saturdays this year. with an opportunity to see some of those films. We have films coming up that have been winners at the Cannes Film Festival, which have never had a run in Westchester.
What kind of a reaction do you get from performers who are there for the first time? They must be surprised by the intimacy of the theater, the type of audience that you have. They're very appreciative audience. Is it a responsive audience? Do people? You go to theater today and you hear an awful lot of people who are, as I call it, woo-wooing. Mm-hmm. You don't see that at the Emelin.
No, it's a very sophisticated audience, and we're pleased with that. We're proud of it, and the performers love it. But it's very responsive as well. Performers who walk into that theater for the first time, and I've had the opportunity to show it to a lot of them, say, "Oh, wow. This is really wonderful. What a lovely space." So from the performer's point of view, it's a terrific space. It's terrific acoustically. It feels very comfortable, and the performers love that intimacy as well. I don't think anybody goes into the performing arts without a need to communicate, without a need to feel close and to share things with the audience, and that's what they get.
And it's not a black box, as they say, about the off-Broadway theaters, which is just a room with lighting and sound and everything that goes with it. But it's a real theater with a real stage, and you can do a thrust stage, and you can do anything that you want on that stage. The lighting is great, the sound system is great, and all of those things all come together to make it really an ideal theater. If I sound like I'm raving about the theater, maybe it's because I like it so much, and that's probably the reason. What does it do for you? You came here for the first time. Sum up very quickly what it is that hit you about this.
Well, part of it is that wonderful variety of things, and I guess as a person who started off as an actor and went into producing and directing, I also value that feeling of community. It's why I like to be there in the lobby and talk to the people, to feel that somehow I've had a role in bringing artists together with an appreciative audience.
Pride, a lot of pride.
I'm very proud of that and of my staff. I have a terrific staff who make it possible to do as much as we do.
Volunteers and friends of the Emelin who are great, and one of the things that's really great is how fast the time flies, and we've run out of time. So I thank you very much for coming, because it's been a great discussion with you. My guest today has been David Watson, who is the executive director of the Emelin Theater. A great place, great shows, great performances. I'm Norman Liss. The program is called The Way to Go, and until next week at this time, enjoy yourself.